In an electrifying showdown, 13th Division Captain Jushiro Ukitake is ready for action with his Zanpakuto as a mysterious dark aura dances around him. Suddenly, a colossal vertical eye materializes on his back, and with fervor, he begins to chant to Mimihagi, the magnificent deity who pulled him from the brink of fate, begging it to unleash the hidden power within. As Mimihagi's radiant essence surges through his very being, Ukitake transforms into the formidable right arm of the Soul King, ready to unleash chaos. He's been ready for this day, getting ready to sacrifice himself for the Gote 13. He apologizes to Rukia for the trouble he's caused her. Mimihagi's aura morphs into a massive hand, and Ukitake is enveloped in darkness as it pours from his eyes and mouth, stretching into the sky. Meanwhile, tremors rocking the Seirete just decide to take a break, shocking Kisuke Urahara, because why not? In the Soul King Palace above, the shadowy Mimihagi casually wraps around the divided Soul King, while Ichigo and his friends watch in absolute disbelief, as if they didn't just sign up for this wild ride. Yhwach, caught totally off guard by Mimihagi's actions, realizes it's part of the Soul King because who could have seen that coming? He recalls the legend of the Soul King's right and left hands like it's the simplest bedtime story. One hand halts time and the other drives progress. Still, Yhwach moves to attack, blasting Reishi at Mimihagi like that's going to solve anything. Mimihagi pushes back with its Reiatsu, creating shockwaves. As Yoruichi watches the chaos unfold, Yhwach boldly questions if Mimihagi truly carries the will of the Soul King. He prepares for a devastating attack, but just then Ichigo steps forward, blocking the attack with his own blute power. With a fierce yell, Ichigo resolutely blocks Yhwach's assault, seizing his arm and unleashing an explosive clash of power that reverberates through the battlefield. Yhwach's not buying Ichigo's fight. Ichigo keeps saying he's going to stop Yhwach. So Yhwach asks him, "So you're not going to kill me?" As Yoruichi zips past, she sets up the Chizeimon, Teshimon, and Kozenmon sheets around Mimihagi and the Soul King, thanking Ichigo and getting ready to solidify Mimihagi as the new Soul King. With Orihime and Ganju cheering her on, she tells Ichigo to hold off Yhwach, so Ichigo lets go of Yhwach's arm to grab Zangetsu with both hands. Ichigo tries a point-blank Getsuga Tensho, but Yhwach counters with a massive Hylic field that blasts energy everywhere. Smoke clears, and Ichigo stands barely scratched, his sword blocking the attack. Yoruichi smirks at Yhwach, saying his future vision is off. Yhwach raises his hand and Ichigo slashes down, forcing Yhwach to block. Yhwach calls Ichigo weak for not wanting to kill him, but just then, a Hylic file pierces Yoruichi's back. Everyone turns to see Uryu outside, aiming his bow. Panicking, Yoruichi's concentration slips and the barrier cracks, exposing the Soul King. She pulls the arrow from her back, and Ichigo's furious about Uryu's betrayal. Yhwach blasts Ichigo away, moving to Mimihagi, but Yoruichi interrupts with destructive spheres. Before Yoruichi can unleash her epic attack, Yhwach summons Pernita, who twists her arm like a pretzel, making her drop the shiny spheres. He blasts her off the palace like a firework, and when Ichigo tries to sneak up on Yhwach, Uryu fires another arrow, forcing Ichigo to slice through it and get pushed back like a rubber band. Shocked, Ichigo feels the betrayal as he realizes Uryu is totally working with Yhwach, who rips Mimihagi away from the Soul King, causing the palace to tilt like a roller coaster. Uryu warns Ichigo to stay out of it. Ichigo demands to know why Uryu is siding with Yhwach. Duh. Isn't it obvious? Uryu is a Quincy? His people have been massacred for centuries. Ichigo should know this. Still, he grips Zangetsu tightly and prepares for battle while Uryu pulls back 2 more arrows, resolutely declaring they can only put an end to Yhwach over his dead body. Gerard Valkyrie flies in with Pernita, joined by Askin Lavar and Lil Baro, as they corner Orihime, Chad, and Ganju. Gerard expects an army, but only sees this trio. Ganju, all fired up, declares that they are an army. Meanwhile, Ichigo rushes through the chaos toward Uryu, slicing through his attacks. This is the beginning of an epic battle between the 2 best buddies.
今お前は僕を殺せたはずだ。僕はクイーンシー。それが全てだ。この世に死神なんて。これが僕の覚悟だ。
Down below, things aren't looking good. Ukitake's life force keeps the balance of the 3 worlds, but it's draining fast, and Urahara realizes time is running out. Up in the Soul King Palace, Jugram Hashwalth observes the showdown. Uryu launches a barrage of spiked arrows, and Ichigo struggles, slashing and blocking with everything he's got. Overwhelmed, Ichigo loses his smaller blade, desperately blasting through the palace to escape as a wave of arrows chases him. Ganju jumps in the air, tossing out firecrackers for a flashy move, lighting up the battlefield. Gerard isn't impressed and sends a flying slash through the smoke, but Orihime jumps in to block it with her Santen Keshin, redirecting the attack. Sato steps in next, using his full bring to counter Gerard's follow-up slash with a punch that sends a shockwave. Asking puts on a show of fear, while Lil gives the team a heads up about the Schutzstaffel not to be taken lightly. Ganju steps up with a cheeky grin and unleashes his epic Renken Seppa Sen, transforming the ground beneath the Schutzstaffel into a wild sand pit. He throws a mini celebration over his cool move, but out of nowhere Gerard and his crew zoom back in, bursting with laughter and full of energy. Lil admits Ganju played well, but Askin warns that they're in deep trouble. Meanwhile, Yhwach tries to grab the Soul King's crystal, but Mimihagi, still in the fight, zaps him with Reiatsu. In Urahara's lab, Rukia realizes Ukitake is still battling, while Isanai begs him to stop because that always works. But Kiyone stops her, shaking her head. Back to Ichigo, he dodges Uryu's Heilig file and cuts through them with Getsuga Tensho, refusing to back down. Uryu tells him to give up, but Ichigo isn't listening. As they trade blows, Uryu reveals he once believed in coexistence between Shinigami and Quincy, but not anymore. He's filled with anger over the past, especially after reading Soken's journal about the Quincy's slaughter. Uryu gathers the Heilig Fail into a deadly cage around Ichigo, who screams his name before the cage explodes. Meanwhile, Gerard steps up to take on Orihime, Sato, and Ganju all at once. Sato isn't backing down and activates his full bring, ready to intercept Gerard's attack. In the clearing smoke, a panting Ichigo stands tall, ready for action. Uryu, determined to finish this, sets up a huge five-pronged attack called Sternenstaub and pulls it back like a bow. He questions Ichigo's honor, but with a reluctant sigh, Ichigo unleashes his Getsuga Jujisho. The two attacks collide in an epic explosion. Ichigo's blast overpowers Uryu's and barely misses him as he stands coolly. Uryu calls Ichigo naive, but Ichigo still wants to save him and their friendship. Meanwhile, Yhwach is struggling with Mimihagi in the Soul King's chamber. Uryu readies his Heilig Bogen, refusing to let Ichigo kill Yhwach. Just as Ichigo prepares to strike, Uryu shoots a Heilig file through Ichigo's side, leaving him in shock as he falls from the sky. Gerard laughs, welcoming Uryu to the Schutzstaffel while Hashwalth watches. Back in the Soul King's chamber, Yhwach berates Mimihagi for wanting to consume him. He rips apart Mimihagi's eye, claiming he's way stronger now. Below, Ukitake's body writhes in Urahara's lab, raising alarms. Yhwach, flanked by his minions, declares his mission is complete. He's ready to reclaim the world. He commands his allies to raise their reishi swords, merging their power into a massive broadsword. With one powerful slash, he shatters the Soul King's crystal. As the pieces float before him, Yhwach announces he'll absorb the Soul King and reshape the world. A dark tornado of energy forms, and when it clears, Yhwach kneels, cloaked in shadows with multiple eyes sprouting on his face. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next episodes, and subscribe for more videos.